You know how some things are just, well, they're always there. Like shoes you put on, or maybe construction sites you pass. You don't really stop and think about the huge kind of hidden industries behind them. What if I told you one of these uh, seemingly niche sectors, almost invisible, is actually this massive global powerhouse, generating billions, expanding like crazy? Today, here on the Deep Dive, we've got this big stack of market research from cognitive market research, and our mission really is to cut through all that data, pull out the key bits of knowledge, the insights for you about the global industrial safety gloves market.
It sounds super specific, doesn't it? Industrial safety gloves, but
Yeah.
the scale,
I'm sorry,
honestly, it's astonishing when you look at the numbers. We're talking global revenue of nearly $9 billion back in 2021. And it's not just growing slowly. It's projected to shoot past, $11.9 billion by 2025. And then get this, an astounding $21.3 billion by 2033. So that's a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 7.5%. That's pretty robust consistently.
Okay, wow. Let's unpack this a bit. That is a huge jump for something that, well, for a lot of us, it just seems like a basic bit of kit, right?
Right.
Something you grab for a messy job. When I first saw those figures, I just thought, okay, this is way bigger than I thought.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, I think, is it's not just this general global rise. This data lets us see exactly where the growth is happening. You see these unexpected hotspots, some really interesting patterns across different regions, different countries. It tells you something, deeper about global industry trends, maybe evolving safety standards too.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's dive in. North America first. What's the data telling us about its part in this whole expanding market?
Well, North America is definitely a major player, leading the charge, you could say. In 2021, it was pulling in over $2.8 billion, and that's projected to climb past $6.6 billion by 2033. So that's growing at a strong CAGR, over 7.3%.
Okay, and the U.S. is the big piece of that pie, I assume.
Oh yeah, the U.S. is the largest share, as you'd expect, about $2 billion in 2021, heading towards maybe $4.4 billion. But the real standout actually is Canada.
Canada, really?
Yeah, it starts from a smaller base, sure, around $583 million in 2021, but it's projected to soar past $1.5 billion by 2033, and that gives it the highest CAGR in North America, an impressive 8.195%. Mexico's strong too, around 7.8%.
Huh. That's a significant jump for Canada, faster than the U.S. even.
Yeah.
What do you think might be driving that specific acceleration up north?
That's a good question. If you try to connect it to the bigger picture, Canada's growth like that, it could suggest a big ramp up in certain industries, maybe resources, mining, oil and gas, or possibly large infrastructure projects. They all need a lot of safety gear. Or it could just be a stronger push on, stricter workplace safety rules driving up demand.
Right, makes sense. Okay, so from that strong North American picture, let's hop across the pond to Europe. How does that market, maybe a bit more mature, compare?
Europe's also showing really solid, consistent growth. It's projected to more than double its market value, too, hitting over $5 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is just over 7%, 7.186% to be exact.
And the big economies, Germany, UK, France.
Yeah, they're definitely strong contributors. Germany, for instance, looking at nearly $1.25 billion by 2033. The UK is growing quite fast, too, almost 7.9% CAGR. France, Italy, Russia, all showing decent growth. But what really catches the eye in Europe is this category they call Rest of Europe.
Rest of Europe, what's that about?
It's basically the smaller markets lumped together, and it was tiny, relatively speaking, around $53 million in 2021. But it's projected to leap to over $196 million by 2033.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and that means its CAGR is a remarkable 15.076%.
15%.
15%.
Yeah.
Which just dwarfs the growth in places like, say, Switzerland, which is growing, but at a much more modest, 4.4%.
That is a fascinating anomaly, 15% in rest of Europe.
Yeah.
What on earth could be driving that kind of concentrated, almost explosive growth there? It sounds like a totally different dynamic.
It really does. Usually when you see that kind of high growth in a rest of category, it could point to maybe a cluster of rapidly developing economies. Perhaps Eastern Europe, countries quickly modernizing industry and crucially adopting stricter, maybe Western-style safety standards.
Okay. Catching up, maybe.
Exactly. Or it could be a boom in a very specific high-risk industry concentrated in those areas. Or even EU-wide safety directives having a bigger impact as these smaller markets align. It's where new demand meets changing rules.
That makes a lot of sense. Adds another interesting layer to this whole global picture.
Okay.
Let's shift gears again. Asia Pacific, you always hear about rapid development there. Is it leading the charge in growth?
You're right to think that. Asia-Pacific is leading in terms of the overall regional growth rate. It's projected to nearly triple its market value, hitting almost $4 billion by 2033. And that's with the highest regional CJR, just over 8%, 8.024%.
Okay, driven by the giants, China and India.
Absolutely. China and India are huge drivers, as you'd expect. China's market is set to go past $1.29 billion.
Mm.
India's growth is particularly strong, almost 8.75% CAGR. But the really interesting one, maybe surprisingly given its size, is Taiwan.
Taiwan. Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, despite being much smaller overall than China or India, Taiwan actually leads the entire Asia-Pacific region in its growth rate. It started around, $49 million in 2021, projected to hit over $143 million by 2033. That gives it a CAGR of 9.206%, the highest in the region.
9.2%. Wow.
Right. It suggests a really robust domestic industry there, maybe advanced manufacturing, electronics, things that need high safety standards, or maybe they're strong exporters of safety gear themselves. South Korea, Australia, Singapore, Southeast Asia generally all showing strong growth too. Well over 7%, some over 8%.
It's just incredible how these smaller high growth pockets pop up when you really drill down into the data. Okay, let's keep moving. South America, is it on a similar path? Steady expansion.
Yes, pretty much. South America is showing that consistent growth too. The whole region projected to more than double, reaching nearly $2.6 billion by 2033. The CGR there is just over 7.1%, solid.
And the main countries? Brazil?
Yeah, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia are the key ones, all showing healthy growth rates, around the 7.2, 7.3% mark. So it points to stable industrial development, definitely an increasing focus on safety across the continent.
Okay. And how about the Middle East? You often hear about massive construction, big projects there. Does that show up here?
Oh, absolutely. The Middle East is showing really significant momentum. Its market is set to surge. It was around $690 million in 2021, projected to hit nearly $1.8 billion by 2033. And that comes with a high regional CGR too, over 8.1%.
And specific countries driving that?
Yes, the UAE and Saudi Arabia really stand out. Both have key GRs well over 8.5%. Qatar's strong too, over 8.2%. Turkey, Egypt also showing good growth. It lines up perfectly with what you said, large-scale construction, energy sector work, industrial diversification efforts. They all prioritize worker safety.
Right, makes total sense. Okay, final stop on our world tour. Africa. What's the story there for industrial safety gloves?
Africa is definitely an emerging market, but with substantial growth potential. It's projected to more than double its market size as well, to over $1.3 billion by 2033. The CAGR is strong, almost 7.9%.
Any particular countries leading the way?
Nigeria and South Africa are the main players there. Nigeria is particularly impressive, actually, with an 8.435% CGR. South Africa is also strong, over 8%. So it definitely indicates significant industrial development happening and a growing focus on safety, especially in sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay, so we've gone region by region. What does this all mean when you sort of pull it all together from North America, Europe, Asia, South America, Middle East, Africa? We're seeing this remarkable, consistent growth everywhere.
Yeah, if you connect all these dots, look at the bigger picture, it's really clear this isn't just about one region doing well or, a couple of hot spots. The data is just consistently showing this widespread, deeply embedded trend, growth across continents. Okay, the rates vary, sure. Canada's faster than Switzerland, Taiwan's leading APAC. But it's not a localized thing. It really speaks volumes about a global increase in industrial activity, yes, but maybe more importantly, a rising, probably non-negotiable emphasis on worker safety becoming just a fundamental part of how global industry operates now.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. This deep dive really gives you that shortcut, doesn't it? To understanding the sheer scale, the dynamics of this critical but often unseen industrial sector. You might not spend your day thinking about industrial safety gloves, but the numbers, they tell this really compelling story. Consistent, powerful expansion right across the globe. It's just, it's a testament to how vital these behind-the-scenes industries are, how they underpin the whole global economy and how it's evolving. And that's a wrap for this deep dive. We've really circled the globe, haven't we? Seeing how this market for industrial safety gloves shows such consistent, strong growth. With some really interesting highlights like Canada, that rest of Europe category, Taiwan, parts of the Middle East showing exceptional momentum. So here's something to think about. Given these really consistent, pretty significant growth numbers everywhere, what does this kind of silent, steady expansion in these essential, maybe behind-the-scenes industries, what does it really tell us about the deeper shifts happening?
The global economy, in workplace safety culture, even in areas that seem, pretty niche. Thanks for joining us. We hope this helps you feel truly well-informed, maybe in some unexpected ways.